Welcome to the Drilling Millions podcast, presented by Sage Dental Partners.
Dentistry, when you graduate and you're, ready to work, you could pursue one of a million paths, right? And then even if you're a general dentist, you see, 10 different specialties worth of cases in one office. So as a young dentist, if you were to set back the clock 14 years ago when you graduated, where would you think about going, and what's the best way to find your passion?
Like, are you talking like, would I have specialized or stayed a GP? Like, what do you mean?
Well, like even beyond that, like we talked about the business, we talked about, some people do a lot of teaching. Like what's the way to find your path in any given career? It's a pretty broad question, but, specifically in dentistry.
I know this sounds just so simple. The greatest way to find yourself and the greatest way to find your path is to serve those around you. And I will always believe that, like, life is service. And until you can help the people that will never be able to pay you back, that's what life truly is. And it's that feeling you get within yourself of helping those around you. That's how you find your path. And it all depends where that path leads you down. And so as a dentist, like, you have that ability to do that as a GP or as a specialist. But I can tell you right now, if that path involves chasing financial goals, you will never be happy. And I know, the first couple of years you get out, I was talking to dental students and they're like, I just want to make this so I can pay off my loans, and I want to live here, and I want to drive this. And I'm like, you guys are, I see where you guys are coming from, because that's how I was. But that is the thing in life that will destroy you, because that stuff will never bring you happiness and never bring you contentment. It's nice to look in your garage, but that's where it ends, because it's never going to be good enough.
Yeah. Money is this weird thing, right? Because there's an endless amount of it. So,
Yeah.
and as you move up, the rungs of the ladder, right now, we're student. I'm wearing Shein, plug to Shein. Are you familiar with the company Shein?
No.
Okay, they're this Chinese retailer. Honestly, okay. Nekky, I'm going to tell you, it is the most, it's the most transformational thing I've ever done to my closet, right? I was never a guy who really cared about what he wore. Shein, $20. I'm pretty sure the shirt was like $25. Incredible. Lasts like 5 washes. But, at least I could look good for 5 washes compared to like just me wearing like H&M or like, like my workout clothes all the time. So Revolution, check them out. Shein. They ship directly from China. It's like, obviously not, this is a plug, but they're not sponsors of this podcast. Like, they ship directly from China. It comes from China to your door in like 5 days. It is Amazon Prime on steroids. It's awesome.
Okay.
I'll send you I'll send you my affiliate link. Not kidding.
Oh, here we go.
Use Drilling Millions for 20% off. So okay, now I don't even remember where I was going. Oh, Shein, yes. So as a student, you're wearing Shein. You graduate. I met this guy, and he just graduated, moved to LA, and like his first purchase was a Porsche. Okay, now you have a Porsche. Now you surround yourself with other Porsche owners. Now, what do Porsche owners? How many cars do they have in their garage? Probably not just the Porsche. It's going to be the Porsche, the Mercedes, maybe, an Italian car. And then, what's the house after the garage, so the goalpost keeps moving as you progress. And you always feel like, if you have this mindset of, even in dental school, it's like, you can feel like the, worst in the room. You're always going to feel like the worst in the room, no matter where you go and where you progress. So the mentality is just so important. And that should be taught in, not obviously in school, but like that should be learned in school. Like, you should learn that when you're not, the guy with 24 ops, right? You should learn that when you that self-worth when you're young and you don't really have too much to your name.
Dude, you're nailing it. That's exactly it right there. Like, I think it's honestly the biggest, when I go to courses and I take courses, the funniest thing I see is like when you sit next to a dentist, and like I often see this in Eastern Canada, not so much out west here, but like you'll sit down and the guy beside you puts his car keys on the table, flips it over so you see it's a Porsche, puts his watch down, you see it's a Rolex, and then I put my hand beside it, no watch, put out my car key, Honda Civic. And it's just like, who cares? Like that stuff does not matter at all. And if you need that to bring you happiness, peace. That's awesome. That's great. If you find like internal value in it, that's great. And I'm not judging you about it. That's cool. But like, I don't know. I've never been one to see that value in that. And so it's kind of always been a part of my mindset as like, man, you don't have to have fancy. I don't crave fancy things. Like you're wearing Sheen, I'm wearing a $5 piece of love t-shirt that my homie made. You know what I mean? Like this is what brings me pride, is like I get to wear my buddy's brand. And like it's just it to me that's fun. I've never been the fancy dentist, but I also know that that stuff doesn't bring me happiness. And I'd much rather, have an experience and go on a really cool trip than, drive a Porsche. But I hope dentists and anyone figure out what brings them happiness, and they can chase that for sure.
So in this age of technology, you've obviously brought, third molars online. You've kind of brought this whole, industry that is meant to be in person. You've kind of found a way to make it work online with the help of COVID.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on mentorship? Is mentorship still as important, now that you have YouTube podcasts like this? Do you still think it's important to have that, one-on-one time with a mentor?
That's irreplaceable. You cannot substitute mentorship for anything in life. If you can read as many books as you want, but until you have that person beside you that has been in that scenario to guide you through it, to learn from their mistakes, I find it's a much harder road to go down. Mentorship is the one thing that brings the mentor and the mentee an equal amount of that warm fuzzy feeling inside, where we feel like we're helping someone and they're gaining something from it. It's that one relationship that I think equally gives back to both parties. And I would not be here for the people around me who I consider my mentors. Early in my career, I never had any, and I failed over and over again. And now, I look at my peers as some of my mentors. Like I look at Ho Young Chung out of Kamloops. I teach with him, but like, I know you were talking about, Stephen Bongar doing these crazy implant cases. I see him doing these crazy implant cases, and I call him every day, and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And I'm brainstorming ideas with him. And even though he's my peer, we're the same age, he's still my mentor when it comes to that part of dentistry. And he's taught me more about life and slowing down and letting my emotional control of my life come first before I react to certain things. And we're always going to learn from the people around us, and mentorship at any stage of your career, whether it's professionally or personally, I think is so important. Do you have mentors around you that help you?
Oh, 100%. Like, I think the greatest mentors, actually, I think the greatest mentor I've ever had in my life has been the CEO, like my partner starting Sage, someone who's, by all accounts can retire tomorrow, another person just does it for the passion of, building something. He's a lifelong entrepreneur, sold his old firm. I think he's just taking this opportunity just by luck. We our paths cross the right place, right time. And, he's just teaching me the ropes and letting me make the mistakes, letting me, fall. But at the end of the day, without that sort of guidance, I'm like, where would you even get that knowledge from? It's so different, and it requires someone to actually be personally invested in you too, right? Like in that regard, it's like, you can, I'm sure I could find the information of, what is EBITDA online, right? But it's like, unless you have someone to like put it into context for you, show you real life examples of it, let you run with that idea, fall a bunch of times, get up, try again. It's like, that you can't replace that. I find you can't replace that.
Mentorship really allows you to move forward down a path of uncertainty. And until you find those key people in your life, that's when you continue to stumble, exactly like you're saying. But if you can move forward in the path of uncertainty, to me, that's what life is. And that's when you start to have fun and you can start to play around with different ideas, just like you're saying. And you will stumble, but you'll always have people in your corner to pick you up and lead you down this path even further. And that's when you truly have so much fun, man. So that's awesome that you were able to find that so earlier in your career, because a lot of us struggled finding those people that were willing to help us too, because those mentors will take you to different parts of your life that you didn't even think were possible. Like I bet 10 years ago you had no idea you'd be in dental school recording a podcast, developing this this brokerage with Sage and having your mentor there. Like, think of all the string of pearls that led to this. Like, it's just amazing, right? Like, and so I'm excited to see how you grow and how different our paths are going to be. And yet we both started in dental school. We technically have the same education, but we're going to go in two totally different directions. And I'm so pumped to see you in 10 years and see where you take this.
I appreciate that, man. A lot more to go until I can, be at your level. But, like you said, it's just all about the process. I'm just in love with, the process of, doing this, building Sage, even aspects of dentistry, like dental school. Like I hate the school part, but like when I speak to patients, I make it a rule now. When I talk to patients, I'm like, if I can't learn one thing from a patient, we see 2 patients a day, right? Like, you remember dental school, it's like 4 hours a session. So it's like, if I can't learn something from them, obviously I'm gonna help them, I'm gonna teach them about dentistry. But if I can't learn something from them in those 2 or 4 hours, I failed. Right.
Dude,
So
what
it's
a
like,
phenomenal mindset. I love that.
yeah. And
Absolutely love that.
it's honestly been incredible. Like, it's my favorite part of my day now is just talking to them. Like, we sit a patient down because we have 4 hours. I spend the first 10 or 15 minutes just chatting with them. Like, one of my patients, like, she goes on the cutest lady, she goes on 2 dates with her husband a day. And they've been married for 50 years. A lot of our patients are senior. And she's like, in the mornings, like, their first date in the morning is they'll he'll go to the gym right bright and early in the morning, and there's this coffee shop about 5 kilometers away from her house. So he'll go to the gym and then meet her at the coffee shop, and her workout is walking to the coffee shop, and they have coffee every single morning together.
Man, that's
And
couple goals right there, man.
I know. And the second I told my girlfriend that, she was like in tears. She's like, "Oh, that's so cute."
Don't get any ideas, because I'm not doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, if you want to walk 5 kilometers to me, by all means, do it. And then without fail, they have dinner together every single night. So it's like, I learned so much about life from these patients that, otherwise I could just come in, put my head down, look in their mouth, fix the problem. But instead, you have to have that, like, mindset of, what can I learn from you? Because you are a wealth of knowledge as well.
Dude, totally, man. You nailed it. It comes down to communication. And I hear, like, your experience with communication with patients. That's exactly what you're after, because that's what's going to lead to success in your practice. No one knows how crappy of a dentist or great of a dentist you are. No one knows your rank in your class. No one cares about the rank in your class. It's not listed on your degree. I don't even have my degree posted. It's in the bottom of a drawer on a desk, because no one cares. All they care about is how you treat them and how you communicate with them. If you can make them feel like, they belong here, that's how you build your practice. It's not how fancy your techniques are or your skill. It's how you make people feel. And you're nailing it, man. If you can have someone share their story with you, man, you're best friends for life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So good for you, man. I'm proud of you, man.
I appreciate it. What's the best way to go about finding a mentor in your experience?
All my mentors now have kind of, I've stumbled upon them. I wish I had better mentors in the business aspect of life. Like I said, I grew up with nothing. I never was able to surround myself with those people that did have money or that were successful until later on in my career. And I don't really seek those people out now. But I think the best way for me was just going, if you want a dentistry mentor, I'd go to their courses, and after their course, I would say, like, listen, you've inspired me to do this. I actually want to volunteer at your next course, and I want to help you run your course. And that's how, back in 2012, I started teaching, is I started volunteering at Dr. Mark Kwan's courses in Vancouver, and he taught me about PRF, and he taught me about different parts of dentistry, and I looked up to him, and I still look up to him. He's a phenomenal mentor because he taught me about so much about dentistry and life, and I just wanted to be around these people more. And if that meant me hanging out at their courses, spending my own money to go to these courses, I could learn from them. And that's how I started finding my mentors, is, basically asking, can I just hang around you more? Because that's that really helped me in my life.
Yeah. Well, Nekky, I'm cognizant of the time I could talk to you all day, but I know you probably got a busy Saturday. Really appreciate you coming on the show, and on all your honesty. I think my girlfriend's going to listen to this podcast, and she's going to be like, it was worth cleaning up the pee. So
Worth cleaning up the pee. All right, that's good. And thanks for not exposing too much of my too many of my mistakes. But if you want to have a mistakes episode, I got a full hour for you, buddy.
Oh yeah, okay. We're concocting the sequel to this
Yeah,
one.
the sequel. Yeah.
Cool,
I
man. Really
appreciate you, man.
appreciate it.
Yeah, it means a lot to me that you even asked me to come on the podcast, that I have the ability to talk to my peers. And so I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time.